Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our VUSD Information Night. To all of our panelists, I want to let you know that we are live. We do have some attendees on already. I see Patty, thank you for being here. I believe that you are doing our closed captioning this evening.
Hello, yes, I am.
Wonderful, thank you for being here. I have assigned you the closed captioning, so let me know if you have any problems.
Okay, thank you. Oops.
For everyone else, thanks for being here. We're going to start letting everybody in. We will begin at 5:30 this evening, so please bear with us. Grab a glass of water or whatever you need to do, and we will be back at 5:30. Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for being with us this evening. Our presentation will begin at 5:30. We're just getting all of our closed captioners, Spanish interpreters, etc. ready, and we will begin at 5:30. Thanks for joining. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us at VUSD Information Night. It's nice to see some familiar faces in our attendee list. We're just getting all of our captioners and our translators ready to go, and we will begin our presentation at 5:30. Thanks for being here. And I'm on mute. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for attending VUSD Information Night. Greatly appreciate everyone being here. I'd like to see all the attendees as well as our panelists. Panelists, you now have access to turn on your videos if you would like. We're getting our closed captioners as well as our interpreters going. And Dr. Rice, when you're ready, if you could share your screen, I do have that enabled for you.
How's that?
That's perfect. Thank you. So for those of you that may need live closed captioning in English, please just go to the icon, the closed captioning icon, and click there. We have a live closed captioner that's helping us this evening. We are still getting our Spanish translation going, so we will get that moving in just a moment. And if you have any questions during our presentation, feel free to click the Q&A button and you'll be able to answer questions, ask questions there. Thank you. So just like 2020, 2021's being very funny right now. Apparently our Q&A may not be working. So if that's the case, then at the very end, we will ask participants who would like to ask a question to raise their hand and we'll take questions at that time. But we're hoping that many of your questions will be answered this evening. Please just give us a few more minutes as we get our translators and others all situated so that we're ready for the evening. Thank you. Hello, Mr. Ramirez. How are you?
Hey, hi, Marianne. I'm doing good.
Good. I'm going to go ahead and switch you over to Spanish translation right now.
Excellent. Thank you.
Cool. Mr. Ramirez, can you just say hi for me and let me know? That way I'll know if I can hear you or not.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can still hear you. So let's hold on one second. Oh, can't hear you now. So thank you very much. That means you are on our Spanish translation channel. Mr. Ramirez, if you can please let our Spanish speaking group know that if they click the interpretation button at the bottom, they will get your, oh, well, they won't be able to hear you in that case. So anyone who would like Spanish interpretation, just click on the interpretation button below and you will get Mr. Ramirez's translation of tonight's event. Also, Mr. Ramirez, the presentation that we're going to be showing tonight in English is available on our Information Night website in Spanish, so they can always follow along there with that PowerPoint presentation. Thank you.
Ms. Quitos, would you please be able to elevate Dr. Dannenberg to a panelist?
Absolutely. There we go.
Thank you.
So again, thank you everyone for being here this evening. If you do need closed captioning in English, just press the closed caption button at the bottom. For Spanish translation, just click the interpretation button. And we had hoped to have Q&A this evening, but apparently 2021's being just as cooperative as 2020, and that is not working. So at the very end of the presentation, we'll have folks raise their hands and we will select on those that we have time for at the end and answer those live. Dr. Rice, when you're ready, it's all yours.
Thank you, Ms. Quiros. Welcome, everybody. It's great to be with you this evening, even if it is virtually over Zoom. Before we get into the program, I know we have some thank yous and some recognitions that are coming up. I want to turn it over back to Ms. Quiros for just a minute. She has a few housekeeping items that she wants to take care of, and then I'll take us through the PowerPoint this evening before we move to our breakout session. So, Ms. Quiros.
Thank you very much. So at the end of the evening, I will be sharing with you our VUSD website that has all of the links that you can go to for our sessions after. They will begin at 6:30 and again at 7 with a short presentation from each of our schools and some of our departments, followed by a Q&A session with them. So please stand by and we'll share that with you then. If for some reason you need to look there now, it is on our information website and you can find that at www.venturausd.org. Thank you.
Okay. There we go. Well, again, good evening, everybody. I want to start off by thanking those that worked so hard.
Well, it appears that we may have a little situation where thanks 2021. I really thought this was going to go a lot smoother. It looks like he might be having some technical difficulties. So at this point, because we always have a plan B, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Greg Bayless to go ahead and get us started for the evening while we hopefully get Dr. Rice back into having working Wi-Fi.
Thank you very much, Ms. Quiros. Yes, we do have a plan B. We've learned that. 2020 taught us anything, that's what we have learned. Okay, well, my name is Greg Bayless, and I am the Director of Secondary Curriculum Instruction with my counterpart, Gina Wolowitz, the Director of Elementary Curriculum Instruction. We can walk you through the PowerPoint. And so, Ms. Wolowitz, would you be willing to pull up the PowerPoint and I'll just tell you when we'll advance through the slides. Again, I want to echo Dr. Rice's sentiments by thanking everyone for their participation and attendance tonight. We're really pleased we can be with you. We'd love to be with you in person, but nonetheless, thank you for joining us.
Dr. Bayless, are you seeing the presentation?
I am, yes. You can go ahead and take me to slide 2, Ms. Wallowitz. Thanks so much. We're really pleased, obviously, to have an incredibly supportive board who has consistently supported all things Ventura Unified, of course, but particularly tonight, the School of Choice. And we're very proud of our School of Choice. And so, Board of Education, thank you. And I'd like to introduce for comments, first, President Lomax.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for spending your evening with us. As we've always said in Ventura Unified, that not all children learn the same. So we're very excited to offer you this opportunity to look at our options. Again, thank you for being here.
Thank you, President Lomax. Welcome, Vice President, Mr. Matt Almaraz.
Muted. Hello, everyone. Thank you to our current families that are looking forward to the next opportunities for their students' education, and all of our future VUSD families. Exciting to see the presentation tonight. Unfortunately, we can't be in person, but we're looking forward to a fantastic performance tonight. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Trustee Almaraz. Welcome, and thank you so much for being here, Trustee Sabrina Rodriguez.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for being involved in your child's education. We know what a huge difference it makes in their success long-term and in the success of public education for our whole community. So we appreciate you taking the time to participate.
Thanks so much, Trustee Rodriguez. Welcome, and thank you, Dr. Jerry Dannenberg.
Yes, I too would like to welcome everybody and thank the parents for having interest in their child's education. And hopefully tonight we'll give them some information they need to be able to make wise choices for their children. So thank you very much, and thank you to the staff for putting this on.
Our pleasure, and thank you, Trustee Dr. Dannenberg. And finally, Trustee Miss Amy Yamamoto Callahan.
I think she had something that called her away, but we do have our superintendent back.
Very good. Dr. Rice, the floor is of course yours.
Okay, here we go. Sorry, of course it wouldn't be 2020, 2021 without the superintendent getting booted on our information. I apologize for that, but connectivity issues. I too want to thank our board for the tremendous amount of support for our students and for our staff and for our programs. They work tremendously hard to support our efforts at every turn, and we couldn't do what we do without them. So thank you for being here this evening with us. Okay, moving on, next slide. I want to share with you just a little bit about our district. Thank you for that. We realize that present with us this evening are lots of folks, families, and prospective students who may not know a lot about our district. We are one of the top 4 largest school districts in the county, ranking right up there with Conejo Valley, Simi Valley, and the 2 districts in Oxnard with slightly over between 15 and 16,000 students, with approximately 2,000 staff and teachers. The district's made up and serves grades all the way from early childhood education and pre-K through adult education in a variety of settings, including alternative education, homeschooling, and more traditional settings. Also, we're proud to say that our schools have been award-winning schools for many years in many different ways. One is our secondary schools are all accredited by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. That's really important as a sign of the quality of our programs, but also the acceptability of our credits to colleges and universities. And many of our schools, too many to mention this evening, have been recognized as California Distinguished Schools, California Green Ribbon Schools, and National Blue Ribbon Schools as well. One of the things that we're most proud of in Ventura Unified School District is the offering of a diverse set of programs and school choice to our parents and students to see if we can capture that spark and offer a program that gets your kid passionate about coming to school and this is a list of our schools and the areas of their focus. And rather than read through them all, I'm just letting it sit there for a minute so you can look through it. And I would just share with you that our principals are always ready, willing, and able to take your phone calls and to provide you more in-depth information about any of these programs. And we encourage you this evening and into the next couple of weeks to explore what those programs offer for you and pick the programs that are best suited for your student. One of the things that we've been working really hard on the last few years is to build our career technical education offerings in a robust way that not only updates the number of teachers that are teaching in career and technical education, the number of course offerings, the quality of our facilities, and the way that our programs are aligned to post-secondary training, internships, and even university level programs that build pathways to quality careers that lead to high skilled and high wage jobs. So you can see there that we have a website at the bottom of the page that I highly encourage you to visit. Our former Chief Innovation Officer and current Assistant Superintendent, Rebecca Chandler, put that together with the help of her team to highlight for parents and for students the many different career pathways that we offer in the district, what the potential careers are in those pathways, what courses are offered, and where those pathways are offered within the district. Obviously, we're really proud of the outcomes that we've been able to achieve over the many-year history of this district, as evidenced by the quality of our students upon graduation, but also on the things that they're able to achieve after they graduate from our secondary schools. And many of our students move on to apprenticeships and armed forces, quality, high-skilled, high-wage jobs and careers, community colleges, the Cal State University, University of California, and internships, as well as private and out-of-state universities. International universities as well. When it comes to choosing your child's school, we're here to help you this evening get a start. We know that it's a process. We know that there's likely to be lots of conversation and lots of deliberation, but we have 4 basic areas that we want to outline for you this evening and that we're hoping to engage with you in a dialogue about. The first is the ability of all of our district residents to attend their neighborhood boundary schools, and I'll be sharing with you in just a minute how you find out what your boundary school is if you're not quite sure. We have a school of choice program that maximizes choice given a vast array of programs and the available school space that we have. And then following the school of choice program, we also offer intra-district. That's an opportunity for current resident students to transfer among the different schools that we have that are offering services at the grade level required. And then once those things are taken care of, we play host to more than a few students from outside of the district when there's space available. So we'll be talking a little bit about each of those programs as the PowerPoint progresses. Again, if you go to the link at the bottom of this slide and enter your address in the blank space that's right here, you will be steered to a map that shows what your home school is, and you should be able to locate it fairly easily. If you're not, for any reason, able to access that, or you have trouble, or you're not sure what your neighborhood school is, you can always call one of us at the district office. Any of the directors would be happy to point you in the right direction. We also have a wonderful call center whose number is listed on our homepage that is ready, willing, and able to help you through this process. So enrollment for our elementary schools, there will be March 10th will be the date that we have our regular enrollment. Current 5th grade middle school students will be engaged in their course registration that will that will prepare them for the middle school. So if you're in the 5th grade, you don't need to worry about how you will register for middle school. That'll be taken care of on the school site. If you're a current 8th grader, the same can be said as you prepare to register for courses at the high school level. Your middle school principals and counselors will take care of you on site. And students new to the district would need to enroll electronically in a process that will be available on our websites and support locations that we'll be sharing more about in the presentation later and also in the coming weeks. And again, I want to reiterate the availability of our call center to help you with any questions you might have. So let's first talk about the School of Choice program, which is our, chronologically, it's the first offering that we have to provide parents a chance to pick a school other than their boundary school. What I would share with you is that generally speaking, if a student who lives in the district wants to attend their boundary school, that typically is not a problem. Sometimes there are capacity issues when people move into the district in the middle of the year, but I want to speak in general terms and let you know that those students who are either new to the district or registering for the first time in our district would typically have the opportunity to attend their boundary school. Should that not be your favored choice, our School of Choice program is available to all students who currently reside in the district. That's different from students who reside outside of the district, meaning if you're attending one of our schools but you don't live in the district, then the School of Choice program would not be available to you. You would need to go through the inter-district process. And the number of school choice seats available is determined by the capacity that we have at our school sites. We try not to artificially cap enrollment. We try to maximize choice for our parents and our students. So if a school has a capacity of 800 and they currently have 700 attending, then we would try to open up all 100 spots. So that's generally how the School of Choice capacity and space available is determined. It's pretty simple. In sharing a little bit more information about our School of Choice program, we obviously use a randomized computerized way of selecting students. It's not based on a first come, first served basis. So what that means is if you would like to participate in the School of Choice program, you would go through the process during the window, and then you don't have to worry about whether you're first or second or 15th or 500th. What'll happen is you will have an equal chance to be selected in the random lottery process. So the School of Choice application is required for all students, including siblings. It's important to remember that. So if you have a set of twins or a brother and sister or two brothers or two sisters or whatever combination of siblings you have, they each need to put in an application. Don't assume that because you put in one application for School of Choice that we know that all the others prefer to go to that same school. The sibling rule applies. The sibling rule is a priority for keeping families together. It's not meant to prolong family tradition. So what that means is that if you have a student who will be at that same school in the coming year, then the sibling rule would apply. If you have a student attending that school and they are either graduating or moving to a different school, and you would like your other sibling to attend that same school, then the sibling rule does not apply. The intent of the sibling rule is to keep families together, both attending that same school. Next slide. When your child is selected to the School of Choice, we try to keep them there for the entirety of the grade span. So if it's an elementary school, that means through 5th grade. If it's a middle school, it means through 8th grade. And if it's a high school, it means through the end of their senior year without having to reapply every year. TK students are a little different. Transitional kindergarten is not offered at all sites. And so we don't have automatic school of choice admission to TK students for their kindergarten year, because not all kids go to kindergarten, and we want to make sure that our neighborhood students who are entering school in their kindergarten year who didn't go to TK have an opportunity to attend their neighborhood school prior to granting automatic admission to a TK kid who might not live in that district, in that school's boundary. Hope that makes sense. We do not offer transportation to schools of choice except for Data Middle School and Foothill Technology School. So keep that in mind. If you do choose to go to apply for a school of choice and you are admitted, families would be responsible for transportation unless they're attending one of these two schools. So we have the dates up here for the school of choice window. I won't go through the process of reading these to you, but the application will be available on all school and district websites. I believe the application period tomorrow opens at 9 a.m. Ms. Kidros?
That is correct.
Okay, and closes on the 29th at 4 p.m.?
Correct.
Okay, there you go. I just want to make sure we got that right. So we have a 2-week window for you to apply to the school of choice. If for any reason a family misses out on that opportunity, it does not necessarily mean that they will not get to go to the school of their preference. There's another avenue that I'll be talking about in just a minute that follows the school of choice application process. Parents will be notified during the month of March. I wish I could be more explicit about that. And in the coming weeks, we probably will be more explicit than that. But a lot of that depends on how many people apply and to which schools and how much shuffling around there will need to be to make space and to backfill spaces for students not attending their neighborhood school. So we'll try to be a little more specific, but notifications will go out in March. A very exciting development. I'm really pleased to announce to you that last year the board approved the formation of a brand new K-8 option, TK-8, transitional kindergarten through 8th grade school in Midtown Ventura. It is currently operating under the Blanche Reynolds Elementary School name, but it's being completely significantly transformed in terms of the facility and the offerings at the school to include a middle school set of offerings in the far right-hand wing if you're facing the school. And we're really excited about that. It's going to be a school of choice option. I do understand we have a breakout room this evening with Principal Susan Martinez. And who will be our lead, our middle school lead, Petra McCullough. They're both amazing educators with a lot of passion. And if you think that a K-8 school or a TK-8 school might be an option for you, and you're not so excited about having your student attend a large comprehensive middle school, please consider joining us in this really exciting and new venture. And you could start by attending the breakout room this evening. And if you have questions on the K, you can always call Ms. Martinez between now and the end of the enrollment period. So I said earlier, we had 2 other opportunities to engage in the choice process, even following the school of choice process. The first one is termed the intra-district, INTRA. This is for in-district students who may be requesting to go to a different school other than their boundary school. And it's based on space available following the school of choice program. And in this particular case, the interdistrict transfer enrollment is renewed annually unless there's some major issue. Those are fairly automatic. We don't typically have problems with renewing interdistrict transfers from year to year. And yet it does represent a second opportunity to attend the school of your preference should you miss out for any reason on the school of choice process. The inter-district transfer process is the final phase of choice that we offer in the district, and that would be for students who live outside of our boundaries once our in-district students are settled in their school of preference, and that is strictly based on space available. And again, those are renewed at each grade level span. So once we have a student who transfers in the district, they're good to go for that school through the grade level span. And then when they go to a new grade level span, they would be required to reapply for that transfer, just making sure that our capacity is still solid and we take care of our in-district students and our boundary school students. So what does next year look like? I know, first of all, let me talk about the elephant in the room and just briefly allude to, I guess my answer to that would be hopefully not like this year, right? Like hopefully we would have our kids coming to school all day, every day. And I'm fairly optimistic. Fairly is a conservative word. I feel like the vaccines are rolling out as we speak. We just communicated to a group of our specialists who are in phase 1A, and they're already starting to register for their vaccines. Our teachers and support staff are going to be close on the heels, I'm told, beginning in the middle of February. And so I'm very optimistic. I hope I'm not overstating the case, but I really am optimistic that we will be back to in-person learning in the fall. And so if you know folks, or if you yourself are someone who felt compelled to leave the district to be at in-person, either private or other settings, we'd love to have you come back home and be with us next year in Ventura Unified. It's our honor and pleasure to serve you, and we really would like that opportunity to re-earn your trust as the educational institution of choice. And what I would say is, and this is something that we learned this year, is that we're finding out that a number of our students, a number of our teachers, and a number of our families, not a majority, but a significant number, really have grown fond of distance learning. And there are already calls to expand distance learning offerings at all levels of our program, and that will be coming in the coming months. So if that is your preference, I think at this point, until we roll out the exact capacity and enrollment numbers for our distance learning program for next year, which will be expanded from what it would have been in a traditional year, I would enroll in the school of your choice and make it known to your principal that you are hoping to have a distance learning option. And then we will obviously get more information out of how to take advantage of those opportunities between now and the end of the school year. Okay, I want to conclude my part of the presentation by just sharing how much I appreciate our communication manager, Maria Quiros, and all that she does to populate the social media sites here that you can see. We're active on Facebook and Twitter and on our webpage. I also want to take a minute to thank some people who worked really hard to put tonight's program together in the face of some very challenging circumstances, when it's much better to just have it in person if we were able to do that. And that's Gina Wolowitz and Dr. Greg Bayless, Candice Kobos, Margaret Parsadanian, Amy Dahm, Maria Hodgson, Sherry DeLong, Dr. Soledad Molinar, Rosa Salcido, Bobby Powers, Carlos Covarrubias, Christian Hernandez, Cynthia Frutos, Kurt Sawa, Susana Sanchez, Frank Davis, Rogelio Ramirez, Maria Castaño, and Martin Foley. We really appreciate all of your work in making this evening happen. And I want to encourage you to attend the breakout sessions and the small groups, where you'll have a much greater opportunity to get your questions answered. I think if we can't do it in person, that this is the next best option. I think you'll kind of like the format. There probably will be an opportunity for you to get a little bit of individual attention and get your questions answered. in these small group settings, and we certainly encourage you to do that. At this point, I believe it is my turn to turn it back over to Ms. Quiroz. But again, I want to thank you all for the honor and privilege of serving as your superintendent. And if you have any questions, we look forward to answering those questions and to getting you and your family situated at the school of choice, and having the honor of educating your students this coming year. So thank you very much for being here with us this evening. And Ms. Quiroz, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Wolowitz, if you don't mind stopping the screen share for me. And I am just going to walk you all through. I'm going to share my screen so that you see where we are heading to next. Can everyone see the website there? Perfect. Okay. So if you go to venturausd.org and click on the banner that's on the home page, you'll come here to our Information Night website, which many of you have probably seen so far. If you scroll down, you'll find our view book, which is a publication that lists a little bit of information about us, tonight's PowerPoint presentation, both in English and Spanish. And if you go down a little bit further, we have all of the links to the various presentations we will be doing this evening. At 6:30, there will be a 15-minute presentation by each of these schools and departments, followed by a Q&A. And then at 7 o'clock, they will repeat the presentation and do another Q&A so that you have the time to go in and out of the different sessions. So as you can see, we've got a transitional kindergarten and kindergarten presentation for those that might be looking into putting their children into that grade level. We have our TK8 schools, which include Homestead, our new Lemon Grove school option, and the amazing Sunset School. All of our elementary school options are listed here for you as well. All you have to do is click on these links and it'll take you directly to the Zoom that all of these folks are waiting for you at. We have our middle school options, our high school options, our Ventura adult and continuing education option, as well as service departments that include after-school programs, career technical education, multilingual and multicultural, special education, student support services, where they really can answer a lot of your questions regarding the schools of choice lottery process and any questions you might have about enrollment, as well as our transportation department. So at this time, because we do have some time, if it's okay with Dr. Rice, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And again, you just go to venturausd.org and you can get all of those links there. At this time, if it's okay with Dr. Rice, I think we could go ahead and take some questions.
That would be perfectly fine, as long as everyone knows that I am not a walking encyclopedia and I have a whole team of folks ready to help us answer those questions. So fire away.
So at this time, we would like to take questions from people who have questions regarding schools of choice, our schools and how to enroll, and any questions you have related to next year. So I'm going to go ahead and all you have to do is just raise your hand. You'll see the little raise your hand icon, and Scott Farrell, you are going to be up first. I'm going to go ahead and allow you to talk. Just one moment here. Scott, can you hear me? You are muted. I think you're unmuted now. Are you there? Is it just me? Can anyone hear Scott? Scott, no? All right, Scott, I promise I'll come back to you. We'll see if we can't get you unmuted there. Sarah Baumgardner, we know that name. Good evening. I'm going ahead and letting you ask your question.
Hello?
Yes, hi.
Hi, yay, okay, you can hear me. My daughter is interested in attending El Camino High School, but I noticed in your presentation that it is not a school of choice. So what exactly does that mean? I guess what I mean is it's not obviously a boundary school. I mean, is this something that if she's interested, we apply for it during school of choice, after school of choice closes?
Dr. Bayless, I'll let you take that question.
Happy to take that question. Hi, Sarah. Great question. We do have 3 schools that have a placement process: Homestead, Pacific High School, and El Camino. And El Camino's placement process is by simple application. So you could go to the El Camino website or call the school and they'll make you aware of the simple application process that operates outside of school of choice.
Thank you very much. And we are going to go to, and I am sorry if I butcher names, Rubicella Gamboa. And we're going to go ahead and allow you to talk.
I'm sorry I missed it. What's the name of the new school that you said is?
The new school that we're opening is Lemon Grove School. It will be a TK-8 school located in Midtown Ventura, and it's formerly, or really currently, Blanche Reynolds Elementary School.
And will that be a dual language opportunity?
Mrs. Wolowitz, do you want to take that question?
Sure. No, it is not one of our dual language program. Our dual language programs at the elementary level are Montalvo, Sheridan Way, and Will Rogers.
Thank you. And let's see, Nisia, I'm sorry if I say that wrong. I'm bringing you online here. You're muted. Would you like to ask a question? Hello? I think we might have you. Okay, I'll come back to you, I promise. Carla Gregg, we're going to go ahead and bring you up. Oh, okay. So it's asking me 1 second. We have to promote you here. Okay, you should be able to unmute.
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
I'm excited to hear about Lemon Grove School. Oh, can you hear me? Okay.
That's
I'm
better.
excited
Thanks.
to hear about Lemon Grove School. And the breakout room, do I enter that through the link on the website or will it happen here with you?
Nope, you just click on that Lemon Grove link and it'll take you right into their Zoom meeting this evening.
And is that happening later or should I leave here and go there?
It'll start at 6:30 and then they will repeat that presentation again at 7. All of our schools will do the same thing where they give the presentation at 6:30 with a short Q&A and then repeat the presentation at 7. That way you can hit a couple of different sessions.
I see. Okay.
All
Thanks
right.
so much.
No problem. And just so everybody knows, we will also be recording all of those sessions and I will be putting those onto our YouTube page and then sharing those again on our information night page in the next few days. So hopefully that will help too if folks can't get there. Karen, we're going ahead and bringing you up.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Awesome. I have a question. So about Lemon Grove, it's going to be a K-8. If I have a child that's going into 6th grade and I want to send her there for 6th grade, would my other child who's going into 1st grade also, would I be able to apply for both of them to go? Or is it like they're only letting the middle school kids in?
Mrs. Wolowitz, do you want to answer that question?
You can apply for both of your children to attend Lemon Grove.
Okay, and would that be through school of choice or for both or intra-district transfer?
The best option is to do school of choice if you live within Ventura Unified. That is because then that stays with you for the duration of that grade span.
Gotcha.
So then you don't have to renew it every year. So it is the best process if you have that interest.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next will be CB Tuffy 55. We're going to bring you up.
Hi.
Hi.
So I have, my son is going into kindergarten. My question was, one, is the school of choice form available to be submitted online or just filled out online and then brought somewhere?
Mr. Bayless or Mrs. Wolowitz?
I can take that one. Yes, you can submit it online. So you can fill it out, complete it, submit it, and then you get a return receipt as well.
Okay, and then the second question I had was, if he were to get into his school of choice and say he, obviously he's going to have peers there when he goes into middle school, he'd have to apply for the school of choice again within like the district that just, I'm not making sense right now. He'd have to apply again, basically, to get into the middle school that his peers are going to, if he still lives out of that boundary.
Mr. Bayless? Ms. Wolowitz?
That's a really good question. I do believe that is the case. So I might need a little bit of help on that. That one's a good one. That's a stumper.
I can help you. Yes,
you.
he will need to apply if that middle school does not lie within your boundary, you would apply for that middle school as a school of choice as well.
Okay, understand. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, we have Anthony Martinez.
Yes, hi, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I have a quick question. Now, for the
It's funny because I didn't put my name in, so of course.
Go ahead, sorry.
for the school of choice, will the gradings for example, the grades for the students, will that be the determining factor regarding the lottery, or is it just going to be a random lottery overall?
I will let Mr. Bayless or Mrs. Wallowitz answer that question.
Yeah, it is a purely random computerized lottery system that completely ignores students' grades or anything about the student.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, my pleasure.
Thank you. And it's either Claudia or Claudia. I'm going to go ahead and enable you there. Are you there, Claudia, Claudia?
Sí, sí,
Oh,
buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Tengo una pregunta. Dicen que en marzo mandan la notificación si el hijo fue aceptado en la escuela de elección. ¿En esa notificación va a venir si quedó en lista de espera o si totalmente no fue aceptado?
Yo entiendo mucho español, pero no hablo muy bien. So either Trustee Rodriguez or Superintendent Rice, if one of you want to take that, or Mrs. Wallowitz.
Sí, cuando reciben la carta que dice si fue aceptado o no, también va a decir si queda en la lista de espera y dónde queda en la lista de espera. Porque, pues sí, la lista de espera no es muy grande para las escuelas, pero obviamente estar en el segundo puesto es mejor que estar en el noveno, ¿no?
Ok, otra pregunta. En años pasados había una segunda ventanilla. ¿En este año no va a haber segunda ventanilla para volver a aplicar? ¿O si aplicaste en la primera, ya no hay necesidad de volver a aplicar en la segunda?
Yo no sé, voy a traducir la pregunta para que alguien que conozca mejor lo pueda contestar. So her question was, there was a second window to apply in years past. Will there be that second window again?
Yo puedo contestar. ¿Es para la primaria?
No, es para la preparatoria.
Oh, ok. Yo no recuerdo una segunda chance para aplicar, pero yo sé que en la primaria puede escoger dos opciones de escuelas, pero no para la secundaria.
Ok, no me di a entender. Cuando mi hija aplicó para la secundaria, se abrió una primera ventanilla para escuela de elección y creo después hubo otra fecha para otra segunda, para volver a aplicar, pero no sé si para las preparatorias este año va a ser igual. Se abre una...
Ms. Wallowitz, I think she might be referring to last year. There were some intras that opened up.
Yeah, and I was also going to explain the enrollment process as well, that even though, sí, es posible que como está entendiendo es que tiene la aplicación para escuela de choice y luego tiene que inscribir en la escuela donde va a asistir. Entonces es posible que es eso. O también hay otra aplicación de otro proceso que se llama una transferencia. Es posible que está pensando de eso.
And I wonder if someone would want to translate for our English-speaking audience.
Sure, I can do so. Rogelio can't because he's on the other channel, correct, Marianne? Okay,
correct.
I just wanted to confirm. So what the parent was asking is if there was a second window of choice. And I was explaining that the school of choice is one window of choice. And if a family does not get their desired school through that process, as Dr. Rice explained, there is another option for an intra-district transfer, as well as explaining that even when you are accepted through that school of choice process, that you still need to enroll at the school that you're going to be attending if you're not currently attending that school.
Thank you. We are going to move to Christy Lim. And Christy, we have you there.
Hi, how are you?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So I have a question. My child attended Will Rogers in the dual immersion program from kindergarten all the way through 5th grade, semester 1. However, she is currently doing semester 2 at a private school, and I'm interested in putting her back into Anna Kappa for school of choice, but wanted to know the process of getting her specifically into two-way immersion as opposed to just the general population. How would that work if somebody left partway through?
One of our assistant soups of ed services possibly to answer that one.
I will take that one. So you would apply for the school of choice at Anna Kappa, and then you would just let them know that you wanted to participate in the dual language program.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
You would also, excuse me if I may add, you will also want to let them know that you were previously a part of the dual language program.
And there's a place to do that on the application?
I'm not sure if there's a place to do that on the application. If not, you can either contact Student Support Services would probably be the best option to let them know, and they can help guide you with that specific question.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, I have one more question.
Sure.
In years past, there was a first choice and a second choice. Is that still going on with school of choice?
So the two choices are for the elementary schools.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we've got Jamie Jenkins. Come on down.
All right, hi, thank you. I'm actually a teacher at the Early Intervention Center, but we do not live in district. So I just want to make sure I have it all right for what I would need to do to enroll my son in for next year in kindergarten.
So are you looking to enroll? You don't live in district, so you would have to do an inter-district transfer then in order to enroll for kindergarten.
So
she's staff.
Mrs. Wolowitz or Mr. Bayless?
I would be happy to take that question. We would, for our staff members, you would do, I believe, an inter-district transfer, and you would mark that you were staff, is how you would do it. And I'd be happy to reach out to you again and clarify that process to be sure. I can get your email through the global email address, and I will let you know for certain, Jamie.
So I would do school of choice application tomorrow, and then
you can do school of choice, and I believe there's a place on there to say that you are VUSD staff.
Okay, thank you.
Kristen Hay.
Hi there.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. My question is, we're interested in signing my son up who'll be in kindergarten into the Montalvo two-way immersion program, which is actually our neighborhood school. If I haven't gotten the full information, I guess, on that program, and I do know they have a meeting coming up, but my question is, if he were to not get into the two-way immersion program at Montalvo, we are potentially interested in sending him to a different elementary school. So my question is, should we still do school of choice? And then kind of wait to see if we get into the two-way immersion program, or what's the process we should follow?
I can answer that. And Ms. Quiros, do you mind, Cynthia Frutos, who's the Director of Student Support Services, she's on the call. Can you find her, please, and elevate her to help assist to be sure that I'm giving correct information? I do want to say that the question about the staff member on for school of choice was correct. There is a place on the application. So to speak to the question about two schools, you may select two schools for elementary through the school of choice process. So you could mark one is your first choice and one is your second choice.
Hello, sorry. I got muted there for a second. So with Montalvo being our boundary school, should we still put Montalvo as our first school of choice?
I apologize. Montalvo is your boundary school, then no, you do not need to do a school of choice for a boundary school.
Okay, so we could do school of choice and rate two other elementary schools, still apply for the two-way immersion program and kind of decide from there, I guess?
Correct.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to circle back to a question that was asked and provide a little clarity. So there will be a question asking you on the application if you were previously a school of choice student and you're reapplying for that school. So make sure that when you're filling out that online application, you check off that box that says I was previously in the school of choice program, and we will make sure to prioritize and work with you and your school site to ensure that we get you back into our district. And if you're excited about coming back in the upcoming school year, we're more than happy to bring you back even now.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Miriam, we are going to bring you up for your question.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Okay, so I'm still trying to kind of get my head around the intra transfer versus the school of choice. So if my daughter is not within the boundary school that I want to apply for, I am going to apply for the school of choice first. But then because we're out of boundaries, I have to apply for that intra transfer as well.
You want me to take this, Gina, give you a rest here?
That's
Yeah,
good.
so school of choice is the first process that anyone out of boundary would apply for a school of choice school or for one of our purely school of choice schools. If you don't happen to get in the school of choice process, you can apply for an intra after that, but you don't have to do both.
Do they follow the same open applications or do they have a different timeline?
There is a little bit of a different timeline and there's a little bit of a different process. The intra-district transfers are not a lottery. It's just by application. So we encourage all parents who want to apply for one of our pure school of choice schools, like Foothill or Mound, and for any out of boundary school that they might desire, first start with the school of choice process and put your application into our system.
And if I could just add, I know it gets confusing when we talk about out of boundary, but the school of choice process is only open to someone who lives within the VUSD boundaries. So when we talk about out of boundary, we're talking about that school's boundary, not the district's boundary. If you live in Oxnard or if you live in Ojai and you wish to attend one of the schools, the process is different. So school of choice just for our VUSD families.
I also wanted to reiterate, if you do apply for school of choice, it's for the grade span. So if you apply for school of choice in elementary, it's good from kindergarten through 5th grade. You will need to reapply for middle school, but then it'll be good for that grade span from 6th to 8th grade. And then again, you will need to apply for secondary. Again, that's according to what Mrs. Rodriguez just mentioned in regards to if you're out of that boundary. So then that grade span would be from 9th to 12th. So please keep in mind, if you are a boundary student, you don't need to apply for school of choice. However, if you're applying to a school that's not within your boundary, school of choice is your best option.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just so everyone knows, Zoom allows me to see who has raised their hand first, and that's how I'm selecting folks. So next on the list here is Jason Clark. Jason, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. So
Hi.
sorry about that.
No, we're good.
So I have twins and we're looking to apply for the school of choice at Foothill. But if one of them gets selected but that one decides they don't want to go there, what happens to the other twin?
Mrs. Frutos, would you mind taking that?
I will. So if one is selected, then automatically both students are in Foothill. And so if one of them decides not to attend, then one will remain at Foothill and the other student will then attend their boundary school.
Okay, so what if there's twins and only one of them gets selected out of the two of them? Does the other twin get in automatically or is that a priority?
So what we created policy, we rewrote policy where one twin gets in, they're both listed under one number.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so if the one that was selected decides last minute, no, don't want to go there, the other twin can still stay at Foothill?
That is correct, because then they both are under one number.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and I just wanted to weigh in and just say, there's no advantage in that way. Like that was part of the problem, is that I think there was some people thinking that the strategy would be, and I'm not saying you would do this, but like put both twins in the lottery, and then if one gets in, you know, they have double the chance the other one can stay out. But that's why we put them under one number. So if that one number gets picked, they both are in.
Okay.
I hope that makes sense.
Yes, yes. Thanks for clarifying.
Marianne, you're muted.
Shoot, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Mrs. Lomax. And we now have Deborah Lopez.
Hi, I have a quick question. So I have two of my kids have been intern transfers for two different schools, but we've been doing online learning this whole time, distant learning only. And we're thinking about maybe having them go back. Do we have to reapply? Or do we just stay the same and just go back as normal to the schools?
I think I can take that. Hi, Deborah. If you are currently a VUSD resident and your students are enrolled in VUSD schools, just they happen to be in distance learning, no, you don't have to re-enroll or re-register or reapply. You are a VUSD parent with VUSD students that will roll over into the next year without having to reapply.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And thank you guys for your hard work.
Thank you, Deborah. Our pleasure.
Okay, we've got Jeff L. Jeff, are you there?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time and thank you for the presentation as well. My son will be starting kindergarten this year and we live in Ventura, but I'm not sure what my neighborhood boundary school is. How do I find that?
So that link is currently on our website and it is on the VUSD Information Night site. So if you go to www.venturausd.org, click on the banner image that talks about Information Night. And on there, you will see our PowerPoint presentation. And one of the slides has it, but I will also, after this, put it very in bold at the top of that page so you can find your school as well, the school locator website address.
Okay, perfect. And my follow-up question is that in the school of choice application, if we had, is there any chance that we will not get any of the schools that we put in the school of choice application?
Mrs. Frutos, Mr. Bayless?
So there's always a chance that you may not get your first choice. However, what we ask you to do is if you are not satisfied with the school that you were accepted in, you also have the intra-district process. And with the intras, you may request to try to attend a school through the intra-district process. But I will tell you that we do have lots of great spots in all of our schools this year. And we will work closely with you in our department, Student Support Services, if you're dissatisfied with the school that you were approved for.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, everyone.
I just wanted to jump in, Ms. Frutos, and just ask you, is it not true that I think in the last year we had, maybe it was just Mound and Foothill that filled up, and I believe maybe Loma Vista, but we typically had spots everywhere and we were pretty able to accommodate almost everybody.
That's correct.
Except for those.
Yes, that's correct. And we're really excited that our secondary schools and high schools have a lot more spaces this year that we will be able to accommodate more students.
Great, thank you. We have time for, I think, one or two more questions. So Yasil Garcia. Are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, hi. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly.
You're fine. I have a question. I'm like really confused. My daughter will be attending kindergarten this year, and her boundary school is Montalvo, but they told me that I could do the school of choice to Portola, but they told me that I need to register her in Montalvo, then ask for a transfer to Portola. Because I don't want her to attend Montalvo for security reasons with the birth father and anything like that. So they told me that I have to register her there first and then do the school of choice.
Mrs. Frutos?
So we are asking you to apply for school of choice. And just to clarify, Ms. Garcia, your daughter will be entering kindergarten?
Yes.
Okay, so you will apply for school of choice. And if you are accepted to the school, then you will begin enrollment at the school if you are accepted to Portola.
Okay, so I don't have to go in tomorrow and register at Montalvo.
That's correct, Mrs. Garcia. You do not.
Okay, so that's what I was confused about. So tomorrow, what I need to do is just put in the school of choice application for the lottery.
That's correct. And if for some reason you can't do it tomorrow, you have 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks for, and it'll be open after 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, but it'll be 24 hours a day after that for the next 2 weeks. And the window closes on the 29th. So in case you can't get to it tomorrow, you have the rest of the 2 weeks to apply.
Okay, so I could do it online. I don't have to send the paper to Montalvo and to Portola.
That's correct. It'll be online, and Mrs. Quiroz has posted that on the on our district webpage. But as Dr. Rice mentioned earlier in the meeting, if you're having trouble with any with the online registration, our call help center and our department will help walk you through that process. So we're here to help.
Okay, so what happens if she doesn't get chosen for the lottery?
Well, if she doesn't get chosen for the lottery, you can apply on for an intra-district transfer. And if there's space, she'll be accommodated. But know that for elementary, you have 2 choices. So if for some reason Portola is your first choice, start going into all of the, I would highly encourage you to attend some of the webinars that we're going to have tonight to see if there's another elementary school that may be your second choice, because you'll also have an opportunity to apply for 2 schools.
Okay, so when would that be if she doesn't get chosen? When would that application be for that?
It's together. So you're applying to, when you start applying for the School of Choice lottery, you have your first choice, and then you're going to list your second choice.
Okay, but the integrated transfer that you said, when would that application be?
That's not until after the School of Choice process is over. So again, I would highly encourage you to apply for your first choice, which I heard you say Portola, and then your second choice. And then you can make that decision. If you perhaps didn't get into your first choice, maybe you'll be satisfied with your second choice.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Ms. Garcia.
All right, thank you. So some of the folks on this call right now need to log off to get into their Zoom calls. So I would really like to thank everyone for being with us this evening, not just our panelists, but our families. You are very important to us, and we hope that we're able to answer all of your questions this evening by going to all of those breakout sessions and clicking on the Zoom links in VenturaUSD.org. If you do have questions that are not answered this evening, by all means, please call our call center. They're open 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. And for English, you can call 805-641-5000, extension 1380. And for Spanish, you can call 805-641-5000, extension 1390. We really appreciate everyone being with us tonight and hope that you have a nice rest of your evening. Thank you.